Hello friends, today I'm going to show you pivot tables. So let me start with this Excel sheet here I have. So I have order data here, and this one I have all my order details here where you can see order number, customer name, customer ID, state, region, and other order details. So let's say I wanted to see sales by region. So how can my pivot table help me do that? So let's try to create a pivot table where it's going to give us sales by region. But before we create a pivot table, we need to organize our data in a table format. So to do that, let me select the entire data by pressing Ctrl A and then click on Insert and then click Table. You could also do Ctrl T to do the same thing, and then it'll automatically select the range for all my data, and I'll hit OK. And as you can see, it has converted my data into a form of table with all the row labels highlighted there. I'm going to rename this table to a more meaningful name. Let's say it's orders. So hit enter, and now my table is created. So now I can either do a summarize with pivot table directly from here, or I can click on insert and pivot table. That will create my pivot table, and it's going to be pivot table range is automatically orders, and it's going to create a new sheet, and here it is, the pivot table. And on the right you can see it's listing all my fields here, and I can change this to basically show my columns and rows and values here. That's the default setting which should be there. So let me drag here my region in the rows and sales into the value column. So as you can see on the left now, I have region and sales in front of it. I can format it. I'm going to select by Control Space, and then Shift Control 4 basically changes the format to currency. And here it is. I'm done creating the table within 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, much less than that. So I'm going to change the name here. So the name is going to be, let's say, total sales, the more meaningful name for the sales column. And here it is. The region sales is ready for you. I can also change the formatting by going to the design and choose whatever design or color scheme I like. Now let's say I wanted to add the sales percentage into this one. So to add sales percentage, I'm going to drag the sales once again into this one value column, and I'm going to rename this to call it sales percentage. And then I'm going to right click here and click on show value as and select percentage of grand total. As you can see, it has added a column for percentage now. So I can also do sort and largest to smallest. So now my larger values are coming on the top and smaller values at the bottom. Now let's say I want to see this data graphically. So how can I see this data in a pivot chart format? For that, I have to click on Insert, and then you can see here Pivot Charts. You can either click on this, or you can directly insert a 3D pie chart from here. So let me drag it here so it's out of my way. See your sales in a graphical way in this chart now. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to insert a slicer here. So for that, just click on the insert slicer, and we are going to pick up let's say state or maybe category and subcategory. So click on this one, and now we can position these two boxes here. So these are my filter boxes. So I can apply filters based on these, any of these categories or subcategories. So I can click on this button where basically then I can check or uncheck any item. And similarly here in the subcategory also I can do the same thing. So right now I'm showing only furniture, and I'm not including chairs, all the furnitures except chairs are being shown. Now I have removed the tables also. That's my total sales, and I can see which region is doing better in these categories. I can clear all the filters. Now I'm showing again all the sales for all the categories. Another way to apply the same filters, let me show you that. I can delete these from here, and what we can do is we can basically drag category and subcategory here in the filters area. So as I'm dragging these here, you can see here in the top left corners, I got these filters here. I can click on the select multiple items, and then I can check, uncheck any items from here. So that's another way. It doesn't take that much space, but it's not as visible. So based on your requirement, you can check, uncheck whatever items you want here. You can choose whether you want to apply filters like this or you want to add a slicer. So there are two options basically. It would do the same thing, and it applies both on the table as well as on the graph. Let's dive deeper into this. I'm going to show you nested pivot table. So let me delete this one. So let me get rid of the sales column here, or the graph, sorry. And then I'm going to get rid of the percentage also. And I'm going to add a state column here in my rows. So let me search the state column here. Here's my state column. Let me drag this here below the region. And now my pivot table is showing sales by region, by state. And let me delete my subcategories, so make it more meaningful. Let me select all categories here. And now you can see all my categories listed here. So now I'm going to drag this and bring it to the rows. So now I can also see my data by categories divided here. But you can see the data is not very readable. So to make it more readable, let me drag the category here to the columns here. And now all my categories are shown here as columns, separate columns. So this is much more readable and concise data. I can compress this, collapse this, and see my data for all the regions also. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag a very special column in my rows, and that would be order date. Because it's a date column, it has a special meaning to it. So as I can drag it, you would see it has already divided and given me the year. So it's giving by year, and it has shown a plus sign in front of the years. So I can drill down into the year by clicking on this plus, and then it's divided into quarters, and I can drill down into months like this. If I click on the month, it shows me the order dates. What if I don't need the order date? I can remove it. I can basically drill down any month. I can look at my region, state. So all my data is good. It's all slice and dice here. From slice and dice, I remember I can also, I already shown you slicer, but we can also add a time slicer here. So to add a time slicer, let me go back to pivot table analyze and insert timeline. So let's use the order date again here and click OK. That's going to give me this kind of a slicer, which has all my years here. I can select any year. If I want to, let's say 2016, and it shows me data only for 2016. I can select quarters, and now I can basically see all my 4 quarters for 2016, but let me move my bar here just for quarter 2. So here it is. My data is for quarter 2 or quarter 3 and 4 for 2015. I can drill down into this, or I can get into months, select any month I want. I'm going to select random months here, and my data automatically changes here. So it's a very quick and easy way to look at the data for specific months, specific quarters. We can do all kind of stuff with this, and it's very quick and easy. Now let's say I wanted to see, instead of sales, I want to see cost, but I don't even have the cost column, but I know cost is sales minus profit. So I can do a calculated field here. So I'll just go here in the calculated fields, and in the name, I'm just going to type in cost, and I can insert a formula here. My formula is sales. Let me search sales here. There's my sales. Double click on this, hit minus profit, and add. So now added a column, which is a calculated column in my this, and it has already added that into my pivot table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the sales so that it doesn't clutter my table so much. Let me go back here and remove my total sales column out. And now it's showing me all the cost. So that's how you can basically calculate anything and put a calculated column in your pivot table. And let's say if I add more data to my orders table, so let me copy a few rows here and make a duplicate these last two columns here. I can select, sorry, rows, select these, paste these, and let me change some values. I'm going to obviously change the row ID so I don't have duplicate row IDs. Change it to 95 and 96. I'm going to leave the order ID as it is. Just going to change the date here so that we know it's a new data being added, 1/1/24. And here it is. My data is ready. I can go back to my pivot table and I'm going to select the years. You don't see 2024 here yet because I have to refresh it. So how do I refresh this one is, I'll just go to say right click and refresh on the pivot table. And voila, you can see I got my 2024. And if I select 2024, I will get the data only for those two rows here. And I can drill down into those as I have been doing earlier. So all this time we were creating tables manually, and you were wondering, where is the AI or automatic creation? So let me show you the automation of this. So for that, I'm going to go back to my orders table. And one way is here, insert and use the recommended pivot tables. So this is by default, looking at your data, Pivot or Excel have suggested you few formats. If you like one of those, you can select this and that will create you a pivot table automatically, just like this one I have created. And your pivot table is like a default table is ready. But let's say you don't like anything in this and you want to create a new pivot table altogether. For that, you would go here on the Analyze Data and you can type in whatever you want. So let me show you an example. So you're going to write a question just like your chat GPT. You're going to write. So I'm going to write here, create a pivot table and let me see, with region, state, and category showing sales. Just a descriptive thing. And here it is. It shows me a pivot table. I can just click on Insert Pivot Table, and it has created me a pivot table. That is the AI part. I didn't want to show you this because if you see this, you won't even learn how to create pivot tables. But now you know both the tricks. So I can format this table also. So let me select all my columns here, change the formatting to currency, and then I can also, let's say, add grid lines here, click here, and all borders. Well, whatever formatting you want, you can change that. And thank you folks for watching the video, and please like and share if you like this video. Thank you very much.